Okay, I'm going to go over a problem that basically we have the earnings per share and we have probability distribution, a discrete probability distribution, where there's a 30% chance there's going to be a good economy and you're going to get high earnings. A 60% chance we could say it's like an average economy, and a 10% the economy is going to be bad for these two companies, and you're going to have negative earnings per share. And the problem says, given the following information, calculate the expected value, the standard deviation, and the coefficient of variation of the earnings per share for both firms. So I'm going to go given, and we'll just go ahead and duplicate this table. So I'm going to go probability, and 30%, 60%, 10%, and we will put in firm 1 EPS and firm 2 EPS, and it's a 2, 1.3, a negative 1.23, 1.8, and a negative 2.2. And we'll go ahead and format all of these as dollars. Just to make it look nice, I'm going to highlight across here. I'm going to go merge and center. And I guess we can center all this stuff. Make that look nice, maybe shaded. Okay, so, and we want to find A, the expected value of the EPS, and B, the standard deviation of the earnings per share, and C, the coefficient of variation. So for a solution, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this down here and work with it down here in the solution area. And I'm going to take these three answers, since I'm going to go ahead and calculate them in a table form. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight these three and then right click and go copy. I'm going to go right here and I'm going to right click. I'm going to paste transpose. So I can put my answers right here. Okay. And then we don't need this anymore. So we're done with this. We're going to get it duplicated. All right. So now for the earnings per share, the expected value of the earnings per share, we would use this formula right here. That happens to come out of the textbook on chapter 8. And instead of using R1, we'd say the probability of EPS1 times the EPS. So instead of R, you just say EPS. Okay. So all you do is you take the product of this times this, plus this times this, plus this times this, and you add them together. That's the sum means is add them all together. So you take this probability times this earnings per share plus this times this. So and in Excel, there's an easy formula to do it. It's called sum product. So it go equal sum product. And it asks you, okay, what do you want to, what are the two arrays you want to multiply and add? And it's this one, which is the probabilities. And I'm going to hit F4 because I'm going to copy this formula down. And F4 adds dollar signs, of course, over everything to make it an absolute reference. And then the next is we want the earnings per share, so that's going to be this one. And I close the parentheses, and we can make, in fact, we can make all of these dollars, right? And copy that down. Okay. So this is going to be the sum product of these. I F4'd it to put dollar sign. You could type the dollar signs by hand if you want, and then times these. And I just copied it down. And when I copied it down, since I F4'd it, it went to this, but it stayed here. Okay. So the standard deviation, that formula is right here. Okay. So the standard deviation is a square root. Now remember these R's, we're going to say EPSs. So it's the square root of each of the individual EPSs minus, so each one of these I'm going to take this minus this, and then I'm going to take it times this. And I'm going to take this minus this. I have to take this minus this, and then I have to square it, and then I have to take it times this. And I have to take this minus this. I have to square that sum, that difference, and then take it times this. And I have to take this minus this. I have to square it, and then take it times this, and I take the square root of all that. Well, I'm going to show you a shortcut formula, and then you have to add them all together and take the square root. So I'm going to show you a shortcut formula. We can use the sum product again because these are products. These two things are products, and we're adding them together. So I can go equal sum product. And since it already is knowing they're arrays, I can use arrays so it'll understand what I'm doing. So it's going to be these, okay, and then it's going to be minus this, okay, and then what I need to do, since I'm going to square that, I'm going to go to the front and put a parentheses, and go to the back and put a parentheses, and then square it, okay, and then I'm going to take that times all of these. Again, I'm going to F4 because I want to copy the formula down. And then the last thing I got to do is I got to take a square root of everything. So I'm going to go right here before the sum product. I'm going to go SQRT parentheses. I'm going to hit the end key, END, to go to the back of the formula and close the parentheses and go enter. And I put the standard deviation. Okay? So that's the formula. It's just going to be the sum product of these minus this, square that, that's what we did right here, and then the sum product multiplies the times all these probabilities, which are these, and then finally I take the square root of that. Okay, so I did it all in one. Okay, so the coefficient of variation, that one is right here. And the coefficient of variation is the risk divided by the return. Now remember, we're saying the R is its EPS. In this case, we're just using EPS instead of R. So in that case, the risk, this is the measure of risk, it's the standard deviation. Right? You could also call it, if you go insert, symbols, it's also this, right? So the risk is that, right? The standard deviation, this sigma is another symbol for standard deviation, and this is the reward. So the coefficient of variation is the risk divided by the reward. So we're going to go equals this divided by this. Now this is a unitless measure, but we'll just leave it we'll leave it like that, right? Not going to be percent or anything. Normally it says unitless, the one divided by the other. So those are your answers. Okay. I'm going to highlight the answers since highlight them yellow since that's my answers. So it's actually pretty easy to do, and it should be a little bit of a memory because we did this back in Chapter 8, very similar to Chapter 8. Okay. So hopefully that helps. Thank you.